What's the difference between Hatha yoga, Vinyasa, Vinyasa? I go to yoga classes all the time, and they have a different title, and I just think we're still doing downward dog.
Well,
Like,
you
what-
wouldn't do downward dog in a yin class.
We wouldn't.
No.
Okay, well, maybe I'm wrong on that.
Phil for you.
Yeah, so yin, for example, is all based on the ground.
Ooh, it's a ground practice.
Yeah, so everything is on the ground. And everything it's likely supported with some sort of prop,
Props
not
and stuff?
necessarily, but
So there'll be bolsters, there'll be
Yeah.
yoga blocks, there'll be, yeah.
and the poses are held for a longer period of time.
Okay.
So, for example, in a vinyasa practice, you're moving with the breath, right? As we talked about a bit before. And so it might be like inhale, lift your arms, exhale, turn this way, or whatever. And so you're moving relatively quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in yin, you're not moving. You're just in the pose.
Okay.
And
On the ground.
yeah.
So yin is more, there's like a stretching aspect or like sitting in the postures.
Yeah, it's kind of a connective tissue, like release and, easier on the joints.
Mhm.
Maybe, right, depending on how one's body is.
Yeah. And then
But-
vinyasa, you're flowing through and you're doing faster, you're matching breath to movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hatha.
Hatha is they're also longer held poses as opposed to moving with the breath, but they're more of the classical postures, which you see in a vinyasa practice as well.
Mhm.
But the difference between hatha and vinyasa, like the postures might not be different necessarily, but a hatha class is not going to flow with the breath.
When they say a flow, that's what they're talking about, the breath matching the movement.
Yeah, which is right now culturally in the United States, and this has been for many years now, is kind of what people think of when they think of yoga, is a flow practice.
Okay. What does hatha mean? Like, what is is that a whole section or a whole practice or something?
I am not sure of the translation. I know a lot of people say like sun moon, hatha, sun moon, but I don't think that's accurate. Meaning like it's a balanced practice. I'm not totally sure what
Okay.
the translation is. But it is like, I think of it as sort of just like the basic, it doesn't have to be basic, but just like the basic postures that are taught and again, like held for longer periods of time, not like, inhale, lift your arms, exhale, fold forward, step back, whatever. It's like you're in the pose.
For multiple breaths.
Right.
And does it incorporate the more extreme, or extreme might not be the right word for it, but the more advanced or more difficult moves?
It can. I mean, at our studio, no, but I've definitely taught hatha classes that do.
Really?
Yeah.
What you mentioned a couple. Iyengar.
Oh, Iyengar.
Iyengar. What is that? Are these just like whether it's a person that like
yes,
like Bikram?
Yes,
or...
exactly. Yeah. So
So-
BKS Iyengar was the teacher who developed this style of yoga,
Mhm.
which is a hatha yoga practice.
Okay.
But what made it different is that he started utilizing yoga props to help people experience the postures and stay in them for longer periods of time.
That's where we started getting the bolsters and
Yeah.
the yoga blocks and all that stuff
Exactly.
to bring the ground closer to our limbs.
Yes.
Thank you,
and
Iyengar.
He's written a lot of books, but he wrote a book called Light on Yoga that was really important. Like now there's so many books on asana, but at one point in time that was like, one of the only books about yoga postures.
Really? What about Anusara?
Anusara yoga, I mean, technically it still exists. I'm not going to get into the story, but there was like
It's another guy or a girl or somebody
there was
championed
somebody, not anymore. It's like I said, it still exists and he's not involved.
this? Yeah.
But there was someone who developed this style of yoga a little more modern. And it was more of like, again, through the lens of Kashmir Shaivism. So that philosophy, that perspective of like Shiva and Shakti. And also based on alignment. So Iyengar yoga is an alignment-based practice, and so is Anusara yoga, but Anusara yoga was more about like moving from the heart and being like a heart-centered practice. But again, without getting into it, there was like a scandal that happened.
Scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. What's the opposite of an alignment practice?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't think there's an opposite. I think it's just like you can focus on it or you cannot focus on it.
Okay.
Like that can be one of your main sort of touchstones for the way that you're teaching, right? Or not.
And alignment means your body's realizing certain shapes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some people think like, you know, and some people say this to me, like if they come to my class and be like, I want to know how to do the pose correctly.
Yeah.
But to me, like that's not what an alignment practice is about. I mean, maybe someone else would say something differently. Because to a degree it is like you put your foot here, your left foot here, you put your right foot here and your right arm here, and you do this with your left arm, right? To a degree that is what you're doing or what I'm teaching, because I do teach alignment-based practices still. But to me, it's more about the alignment is in service of the expression, right, of the body and the experience of the body. Right? It's not to do a pose correctly. It's to express the body. And, you know, maybe if there's some guidance in how to do that, that's going to help you a little bit more.